Alrighty, take two on this. This is Alexander. You've been a ritualist in a few of my rituals. In particular, today we're going to talk about A Couple of Us, which is my latest venture. Tell me how you feel about A Couple of Us in terms of the story and in terms of your character as Duncan.
Well, it's definitely out of my comfort zone, which I say that is sort of a compliment because I don't normally feel, I don't show my paranoia, I keep it internalized. So to bring it out was kind of a challenge, but what can I say? I compare, I guess, Megan to the sort of Damocles moment, in the sense that it's something that hangs over him. You know, like it's a double-edged sword. Love is a double-edged sword because on the one hand, like a knife, it can cut you, it can kill you. But a knife is also a tool. It can help you. It can cut your minds free. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like with Megan, it's consistently hanging over him like that sword of Damocles, that continuous reminder of, hey, I'm always there. I'm always going to be there. And it really does show you what obsession can do. I mean, it's, you know, I know people always like to, when we talk about drugs and over the counter, fentanyl, but people don't look at the metaphysical drugs, like addiction, obsession. And that's where I think A Couple of Us really hits home. It shows you the darkness of obsession, how that can kill someone, whether inside or outside, because
It consumes you, does it?
Yeah.
Do you feel that as a character that it consumes you when you're playing Duncan?
Much like a rabbit hiding from a hawk.
That it's always leering, always watching.
Yeah.
That's actually an interesting analogy, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Something is hunting you down, and you're trying to handle it the best way you
Well,
can.
I think the best way I could put it is an even better analogy. Not to be cliche, but cat and mouse. But towards the end of the story, I feel like the cat then becomes the mouse, or rather, the cat then is chased by the dog. He becomes her dog, as she was his mouse. So back and forth, back and forth. It's sort of a never-ending tale.
Is this character unique for you? I mean, being that you've been a ritualist in this, and you were in Into the Stretch, where you played Frederick and Donovan, do you find that this is a new challenge for you, or do you see similarity between?
It's new. It's new, just because, again, I don't really typically express myself in most roles other than the stock emotions of laughter and anger, crying. But paranoia, I'm not paranoid in the traditional sense, I suppose, but I'm paranoid in the sense that, in my mind I'm always wondering the big question, life, where do we come from, what's the point of it? And that's an obsession in and of itself. So yeah, I guess channeling that without coming off as too cartoony or too hammy, and that's how I felt, is that I kind of hammed it up. I mean, if I kept hamming it anymore, just ask me if I, just ask me if I can smoke it. Smoke ham. Regardless.
What would...
it's different. I mean, Donovan was fun. Frederick was, it's that contrast, Frederick was more laid back. Donovan was more into himself, into his book. And I guess you could say with A Couple of Us, Duncan is just, he's helpless. He's just letting it all out, because that's all he can do.
What would you say to Duncan as Alexander, if you had a conversation with him? What is one of the things that you would say to Duncan?
As someone who deals with paranoia, find something else to get lost in that takes you to a place of euphoria.
How to handle your paranoia.
Yeah. I mean, listen, at that point it gets so bad and you can probably either get help or you can fear paranoia or you can spit in its face and say, yeah, you're here to stay, but I don't have to acknowledge your presence. I would say get help or find something to help take your mind. The other thing about obsession is obsession can be bad because people obsess over any small little. It's a consumption of your life. But obsession is good when channeled into something positive. So I would say take his obsession. And I guess if I were him, that would make for one hell of an interesting movie. And I think something he could channel that. Therefore, he can turn his paranoia, his obsession and fear into something more positive that he could then get used to, and it no longer becomes kind of annoying.
You know, we were talking before, and I asked you if you're an actor that your process, in terms of your process, if you work inside out or outside in, and you're sort of an outside in type of person. Is that how you're working on this particular piece with Duncan? You're finding him from the outside in?
I'm finding him. Well, you know what? I'd like to rethink that answer because I'm outside in the sense of when I'm in new territory and I don't really know much about the character. I guess I use the outside as sort of a tool to explore the inside. I guess I should say more. I dissect the character. You know? I just cut and cut until I find something that is them. And to put it into perspective, I just do things. I don't have a plan. I just do it, and I just go off the feedback of what the director says, and I just from there I learned that okay, this is how the character is until I get it right, and then from there.
And you do that with the setting as well. I mean, as today, for example, I mean, we were doing a lot of these shots, and it was raining, and there were a lot of people here, and there were accidents, and how did you handle all of that, and how do you feel Duncan handled that? How were you able to incorporate Dunk with all these disasters going on around us today?
Oh, much like Duncan. Keep in mind, when I knocked over the rat, I caused that. Well, that's a metaphor for Duncan. He caused his obsession, his paranoia. It's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. As for how I handle the noise, honestly, at this point, unless I can't let anything distract me as an actor. I mean, I was aware of it in my mind, but it's just when you're so obsessed with something, everything else just kind of quiets out.
Just like Duncan, he sees something that he sees the invisible.
Yeah, he's focused on the invisible. Megan with an H. He's focused on her.
Have you ever seen the invisible?
Invisible what?
Invisible anything. Is there things that you see in this world that nobody else has seen?
Well, I don't know if this counts or anything, but when I was a kid, my grandfather, before he passed away years later, he was very spiritual, and he would tell me that I had a sixth sense. I could see things that nobody else could.
Wow.
So I guess if that counts for anything.
Yeah.
I see. Sometimes I see things from the corner of my eye. I feel like there's something there, and I turn and it's not. I guess machinations of the mind.
Absolutely. Let me ask you the last question here, because I know you've acted in several things. You've done theater. You've done short films. What is it like to be a ritualist and to be in a philosophy of Scatterism, which Jefferson is trying to develop or construct? How is that world for you? What do you feel about that world? How has it changed you, if it has, or what is it like to be involved in that experience?
Well, in all fairness, it's actually, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I feel it's a lot easier for me to jump into Scatterism and the absurd simply because there's nothing holding me back. There's no leash. I can be as crazy as I want. I mean, granted, there's some tweaking. The problem with that is that I kind of feel like the characters feel the same just because they're going so big. But it's the fine tuning. Whereas when I'm playing other characters, I'll admit it's hard for me to really like. I just feel like me. Although people tell me they think the character is great, I'm like, all right, fine, I'm doing something right.
Right.
But I can pick myself into the box if I need to. It's just all the characters start to they don't feel as genuine all the time when I'm acting, just simply because I guess it's because a scene has to really click with me. It has to really be something I can sink my teeth into. But I give it my all. But Scatterism is it's just take the dog off the leash, run,
Correct.
and then after I'm done, you just say, okay, a little less of this, a little more of this, or keep doing what you're doing, but just the guidance. So to put it this way, I'm the tornado, you're my path. Guide me to that, and I'll just let me blow. Do the rest. That's what Scatterism feels like to me.
Gotcha.
I can do.
Appreciate it, Alexander. Good work today, mate.
Stay golden.